Hi, my name is Amy T. Meyer, and I am the host today. So, Ed will hopefully be joining us shortly, but in lieu of Ed being here, let me introduce you to Lynn. And so, welcome, Lynn, and thank you for coming on, helping the brave. Um, as you saw the introduction, Lynn is with The Mission Continues, but we always start off with why did you choose to serve in the Army? Or why did you pick the Army? My apologies.
You want a funny version or the long or the really philosophical version? Um, so yeah, no, we're it's the journey is quite a bit. It's quite a bit long, and I can share. I've shared my another short version of my story in a TEDx I did back a few years ago. Um, But to answer your questions, Amy, and first of all, hello to everybody out there, the audience, everyone who watched who follow the Help the Brave podcast. It's just really a wonderful opportunity for me to be here. So I want to say thank you to Amy and thank you to Ed for giving me this opportunity. But to answer your questions, the funny version is that um, I joke that if God were to make me to fly, He would have given me a pair of wings, and if He wanted me to join the Navy, He would have give me a pair of fins, and already. So by virtue, on land I can hide behind a rock because an airplane and a boat cannot hide behind anything. So that's the reason why I joined the Army. But the more nuanced version was that my one of my really childhood favorite uncle was a paratrooper. Then when I grew up in Vietnam, living under communist rule, my first martial art teacher, also mentor, was also a paratrooper in the South Vietnamese Army. And so my dad was in the Army. And so, it was like I've had really good, strong father figure types of person, mentor in my life who were in the Army. So, so after I finished when I finished high school, then it was very natural that my lifelong, dream was to be a paratrooper, and that's why I joined the Army because that's where paratroopers are at. Yeah, so that's in a nutshell why I joined the Army. Hey Ed, good to
Hey,
see you,
sorry
man.
I'm late. Sorry I'm
No
late.
worries.
Things happen, in life.
Hey,
So,
more than once.
all right. So
So,
you joined the Army. You're a paratrooper. So airborne ranger or just airborne
That's it. That's it, man. Grab minor patches here and there, but never, never got the Ranger tab. I got,
That's okay.
I got a Pathfinder badge. That was cool.
Yeah, I mean you don't have to be a ranger. There's a lot of problems I think going that route. I was just glad my son was colorblind, so he couldn't go that route. So
It's there's good and bads, and how it all turned out, and it turned out, I think, beautifully. And it's one of those things where when you're at the time, you're kicking yourself and you're like, oh, I could have wanted, I really wanted to know how come nobody, how come I didn't get that? How come I didn't get that? Whatever the case may be. But I think living as long as some of us have had the privilege and fortunate to last this far, I've come to the conclusion that whatever happens, you know, it has a good reason, and this is why I'm here where I'm at. You know, so I'm just super stoked about that.
Cool. So how long did you serve in the Army?
So I think for a total of 10 years. So my first 3 was a ground pounder, jumper, you know, all that, doing that hula hula cool stuff. And then I got a green to gold passage, and I took that route. And then after I got commissioned, you know, Congress decided I'd be a better intel officer than an infantry officer, and so I got branch MI, and served the next 7 as an MI officer.
Very good.
Yeah.
So when you got out, because you got out in what year?
97. I'm
So
old.
when you got out, was there transition services back then?
Oh my gosh, no, not a lot. Probably not, or none at all that I could remember. It was very much well. In my case, I resigned my commissioning, so it wasn't a natural. Hey, you know what? You didn't get promoted. You know, you didn't make the cut, or whatever the case may be. I was still pretty darn good in my, you know, in my rating with my OER, you know, top tier. But I turned in my commission. I resigned my commission, and so so transition benefits and services were probably non-existent to me. You know, and yeah, no joke. It was like I think not. You know, to be honest, it's like for a lot of veterans during that time and that era, the military was downsizing big time, and you know, there weren't anything there. You know, regardless whether you walk away or the system just like, okay, you know, your time to leave.
Now,
So
did you plan? Oh, sorry. Did you plan your transitioning out, or was it just one day you was like, I'm done?
Yeah.
And how far out?
Yeah. There was two evidence. There was just 2 incidents, one bad, one good. That was the result of it. So the background was, I was, as an MI officer, I did, you know, I was in the detachment in intel, and doing support intel for first SF group down JBLM. But that was also where my best friend Mike Anderson ended up to be. He was at first, and so when he and his detachment were sent into Thailand, they were short an MI officer, an MI guy, an intel guy, and he was just like, Lynn, just why don't you just come out and, you know, just like fix the order. His, you know, the captain, the major, fixed the order, and like I went out with a team, and doing the operation, my best friend died, and so that was really sad. I was in a bad place when I came back, and then eventually, and then I met my wife. She was a civilian, straight up civilian, and you know, and she gave me the ultimatum. It was like no guns in the house, you know, me or the army, and so I was like, okay, well, easy choice, you know. So I just turned my paperwork in. I gotta, you know, just got my letter typed up already neatly and all that other stuff. It was just like a matter of just put on a date, put in a typewriter, roll it up, to put on the date and sign it, and there it went. And then it was just a matter of like a week, 2 weeks or something, just processing out really quickly.
That's crazy fast. So what did you do right after then?
Oh my gosh, right? So like every MI guy who ever walked out of a branch or get out or whatever it is, so we all thought that we're some kind of spies or something. So of course I tried to apply for the FBI and all the CIA, all the intel community, and then in the meantime I ended up working. I got just a temporary gig. I became like a family counselor for the Department of Social and Health Services here in the state. And as it's turned out, as like you said, as life would have it, before you know it, a few months turned to a couple of years. A couple of years turned into like 3, and 3 turned into 5. It was really coaching up, and it's like, and I was, before you know it, I was a state employee for a good 4 or 5 year chunks of my life, uh, fast and quickly. Just like completely a civilian guy. uh, but still in
Is
the
that
public, yeah, still in the public sector, pretty much.
what you're still doing now? What are you doing now?
Oh no! Oh no! 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 It's much more interesting than that, man. My life is much more interesting than that. Yeah, no, I got, and then I got a gig to go to North Carolina. Moved to North Carolina from Seattle, as a park and recreation uh, coordinator. And it sounded boring until you got there. The job was to engage with and bring recreational opportunities and and stuff with minority populations. At the time was Hispanic and Asian Americans, and so that was fun. It's just a lot of freedom. Harking back to the time when it was service, there was a lot of like, liberty. Like I had a lot of free agency to organize and to do things in any way I wanted. And that was also where I caught the organizing and political organizing bug, because in that effort, the community was engaged. And before you know it, there was some really, cool county elections, and we're able to flip a seat in a county, in Mecklenburg County. And there was like, awesome. And so the department realized that Lynn was just being out there doing his thing, and so they were trying to reel me back. And I wouldn't have none of it, so I quit, and we moved back to Seattle. I went to grad school, and we had a small business, and then we just started a small business. And after my grad school, I got hired as a staffer for a member of Congress here in the state of Washington. And I worked for this member of Congress for another 6 years. And it was after my time at the congressional office that I found out about the Mission Continues. And I've been the regional operations manager here with the Mission Continues, a veteran service organizations that focus on training and turning veterans outward to continue service in under-resourced communities around the country. So I've been with the organization for almost 4 years now.
That's very good. And you're doing another project right now too that is deals with politics.
No, so there, I've it's not so much of politics, but not so much of politics, but more around civic engagement. It's just like, as we all know, veterans. I think the highest. I think after World War II that we had the highest numbers of members of serving in Congress in any elected offices, like that were veterans, right? And then it's on a downward trend. And now you can barely count them. You can barely like count them on your fingers in national, especially national offices. Um, and a bunch of us think that there's a correlation around partisanships and hyperpartisanships and things like that, with a lack of having those who actually served, who have service as a core tenet in their core values, solution-driven people, care about service above self. So those are the kinds of things that there was a bunch of people who care about that. And there's a nonprofit core, nonprofit core, politics leadership tomorrow, and the focus is to train and to support service alumni, anybody, whether it's military or Peace Corps or AmeriCorps, to get them trained and ready, discover their selves, their values and their messages, and help them onto elected offices, and get them more into election, into elected positions. And it's nonpartisan, so it's like it doesn't matter which party affiliation, because at the end of the day, in my experience, at the very least, it's like, no matter what differences we have in terms of like, thoughts and leadership thoughts and whatnot, we tend to give each other quite a bit of benefit of the doubt. We tend to listen to each other a lot more, listen to each other's nuances as to why you want to get to a position, and tend to find common grounds and relate as to why you believe in something and not believe so, and still tend to support each other regardless of whether we agree or disagree. So I think that's something that I like and I track myself to, and I've been mentoring other veterans who feel the call or the need to want to get into that work a little bit more. So yeah, that's the other side, the bit of it. I care deeply about civic engagement. I'm a first generation immigrant from another country, from Vietnam, as I said earlier, and becoming a U.S. citizen was like really cool. I take both my oath of citizenship and the oath of service as a person in the military very seriously, like dead serious, and so I wish more people, and I want to engage and excite more citizens to take hold and to be engaged more in their civic duties.
I totally agree. I saw a big push down here. I'm in Modesto, California, and get more veterans involved with politics, because it doesn't matter. And I run a radio show also. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. We work together because we take the emotion out of it. We can discuss something and then come back and come together. We don't have to get upset about something. We can actually understand both sides and listen to each side, what they're talking about.
Yeah, in fact, I think we understand the emotion behind it a lot better, right? It was like, because if you haven't served, if you haven't get engaged and have been in some kind of a service experience, we tend to not understand or relate to why is someone upset about something or angry or excited about something. It's hard to relate to that. But it's like, if we've gone through a similar service experience and we shared our service experience, chances are we'd be like, yeah, I knew. Oh my gosh, I know what you're talking about. Even though we've never done that, what they did, but we relate to it. It's the relatedness that we can begin to also empathize and sympathize with the emotion behind a certain belief, right? And so then we can acknowledge it and then pass it and move into, hey, let's find some common ground, figure out some solutions together. And we have this sort of like this mutual trust. There's a certain element of trust that's built in with service alumni, that you have given a little bit to yourself already. So it's like, oh wow, therefore you got it, I got you, and that kind of stuff. And it helped move beyond that phase of trying to discover and trust, build trust, and move into a much more practical solution, as you alluded to earlier, Ed. So,
and one more thing, Amy. The one thing I found out, in California, I don't know if it's everywhere, but we cannot put that you're a veteran on the political ballot. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, you can put everything else, but you can't put that you're a veteran. So if that's not, I don't know how it is up where you guys are, but that's how it is down here. And that's something, if that's a nationwide thing, that's something that needs to get changed. So.
Yeah, I think it's a state thing, up here in our state. I mean, people,
No, they say they're veterans, and because I had a lot of people, and I did a lot of shows and record, they can say that, but when you look at the actual
the ballot,
ballot, it does. They can say everything else, but they can't say they're a veteran.
I think we can say it up here. I think
can you verify for me?
I can check into it. I know. Yeah, I can check into it.
And then just let me know.
Yeah.
No, he can reach out to me.
No, he can't talk to you.
Okay. And bear with me, my dogs are gonna start barking. I'm at home today. I'm not in the studio.
Hey, Ed. Everything's go through Amy up here, man. Just so you know.
Hey, my son will be up there in June of next year, so I don't have to worry about it. Airborne Ranger. I mean, airborne medic, not ranger. I got stuck on that ranger at earlier.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm going to get all the backstory.
No, you won't.
It's all the same work, man. I swear to God, man. It's just like when you're humping stuff. What's the difference between a ranger and a non-ranger? It's literally nothing.
Well, just the training you have to go through, and so it doesn't really. I mean, with him, it's just the fact that he's medic. He wants to be eventually. He re-enlisted. He's staying in. It's amazing how much bonus they're giving right now to
Yep.
keep people in.
Oh yeah.
Because
especially with a medic background, especially with a medical background, especially medical background. So.
All right. So I mean, what's going forward for you? What do you need help with anything that you're working on?
Well, I don't have any specific ask, but I think it's just I hope that by sharing my story, it's just to encourage veterans to just get out there and not sitting at home and feel alone. I think isolation does all kind of weird things to yourself, and just get out there and share your story and talk to others. In fact, in my work with the Mission Continues, I found that it's much more. It's also great to encourage veterans to go talk to non-veterans. Actually, more of us should be doing that, because believe it or not, the rest of the country and the rest of the world still are willing to listen to what veterans have to say. They may argue with each other, but it's like, I think nowadays, at least, being a veteran actually is really good street cred, has some good street cred, street value. So I would encourage veterans to go out and talk to the communities out there, engage yourself into the work, in finding practical solutions to the things that the communities needs, and the community actually needs a lot of us. The skill set, the kinds of camaraderie, the kinds of team building skills, the kinds of leadership reactions, and all those things to which that we, it's a taxpayers, training and investing in us. Let's utilize it a little bit more. Let's stretch it out a little bit more and bring it out and helping ourselves primarily by engaging with the public, with the community, but helping the community as well. I mean, there's so many things that we can do. There's so many solutions that could, generate from the goodwill and from us and our own skills and our experience. I think it would be really important for veterans to turn outward and to go out there and make some impact in the community. Being here with TMC, I've gained all of that stuff. The mission continues. I've gained a lot of friendship. I built a lot of friendships, not just within the organization itself, but with other VSO. I'm really excited about my membership with Travis Savanian Foundation, because there's a focus working with young people around character development. I love that stuff. I've taught martial arts for like good 20 years of my life, as well as another hobby of mine. And you work with young people a lot, and so I totally relate to that. But there's other areas. Go fitness, it's like, and I'm a crazy fitness guy, so I can hang with Team Red, White, and Blue, and and engage in encouraging veterans to go out and be more taking care of themselves, a lot more, like being physically fit, because there's a definite correlation, if not direct cause, between physical fitness and mental health, right? It produces certain chemical in your body and your head that will make you feel better. So it's just get out there and do stuff. I think my biggest message, if I could, is to use forums, through here, like Helping the Brave, is just to get veterans to get out there and rediscover yourself, or discover yourself for a second mission or third or fourth missions in life, and just make whatever impacts you can in the lives of others. I think all of us have took the oath of service, and I think whether you leave or the military, at the end of time, the military, nobody has ever decommissioned our oath. the river said, "Hey, let's have a ceremony to like, oh, let's take the oath back." I mean, I think all of us are still, are still stuck with that oath. So that oath of service is important. That all of us need to continue to strive to our better selves so that we can continue to serve.
What do you recommend people to, because you say get out there and, and serve to get out of the house, basically, how can people take that first step, or where should they go to get a contact so that they can do this? Because a lot of people feel it's overwhelming and they don't know how to take that first step. So what would you recommend people to do to take that first step?
Yeah, I think the most natural first step is just open the door, and I don't have a preference in terms of like, it's, I'm not here to advocate, oh, the mission continues is the only thing that's good in life, or you should go that right away. It may not be. It's like a different stage. It's what different station you're at, so I think the first act is just to open the door and to go talk to another fellow veteran that you know of. Find another veteran. Yeah. Amy, do you have some idea?
Well, I was going to say, a lot of people don't. I never had heard about the Mission Continues.
Yeah.
So I think it would be great if you wanted to share with us, like when, how old is the Mission Continues? What is it like to do? Because it is different than Travis Manion, but we do a lot of partnering because we have similar values. And so I would love for you to just share.
Of course. But like I said, I think the first step is just, I'm a veteran first before I came to the Mission Continues, right? I mean, it's like, so to Ed's point, it's just like, just to open the door and go out and talk to another veteran and find common ground and just go from there, and then talk to the people in the community that you're living and working. If you go to school, talk to the college kids, in the campus, and you'll learn. And that, I think that's probably a good first step. But uniquely here, thank you, Amy, for the plug in, but it's like here at the Mission Continues, we're a very unique organization in which that we just don't, yes, we connect veterans and we share values and we share story and whatnot, but we also turning all of our energy, turn outward into serving the community still, right? So we looked at various, we engage in supporting under-resourced communities throughout major metropolitan areas around the country. And we do that. We have chapters all over the countries in California, in my state, in Washington State, and all over the country. But the organization have been around actually for 15 years. This is our 15th anniversary. We're 15 years old, still a teenager, but we have, I think, founding members of Travis Manion Foundation or Team Rubicon or other younger veterans organization post 9/11. They all know each other. I mean, it's like they were all cut from the same group and it's the same cloth. And it's around the notions that we can continue to serve. I think that's a common theme, is that the younger veterans is that we're not huddling up in a building somewhere and talk about ourselves, right? But just turn it around and say, hey, we got more to give, and this is how we're going to give. It may be very tailored to Travis Manion Foundation. It's like, our focus is going to be with young people, right? For us, our focus is going to be, well, just put a bunch of veterans together and go out and solve some community problems. This is what is basically fundamentally is that we deploy, we go around the world and we fix stuff, and we fix communities overseas, right? And some of them work, some of them don't. But guess what? Our communities here domestically in our country needs help. And we take the things that we learn from overseas, things that work well, don't work well. We try to bring it home and try to help here in our communities, because if we're not strong here, we can't be strong anywhere. So I think that's fundamentally is the other bits about it. And our organization motto is Charlie Mike. That is continue missions. Our emblem, our shield is of two birds, the signature, symbolically with two birds, the descending eagle. So that's time of service, wearing the uniforms, and then the ascending seagull on the opposite direction, dove on the other side, on the upper end, is the moving into development and peace building in our country, in our community. course, I mean, I love this place. I make lots of lifelong friends and continue to be with veterans and supporting veterans and be in service of communities all day long. I mean, I wake up and pinch myself every morning. I get to do this. Yeah, it's really a fantastic place.
Anything else, Amy?
Nope. Thank you so much for.
Well, we're not going to get rid. Anything else you want to add before we go? Jeez, Amy.
Whatever.
Goodbye. We're out of here. That's how she is at the end of the show when we're all done. We're like, hey, how's it going? What are you going to do? Click.
I was just going to say thank you. I'll miss you at MVP tonight, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing, we're on MVP together as well in Renton. So
and for everybody else who doesn't know what MVP
is for everybody who knows
acronym.
MVP is Merging Vets and Player, is another veterans organization that does a lot, getting veterans together, it's a peer-to-peer support group using fitness, having both veterans and the professional athletes together as a way to bridge that community bridging as well. Member of that, Amy's well too. So is Mark. Get sucker into it. Haha. But actually, I just had something in mind. We have community service projects up here around the country, especially our upcoming national campaign event, United in Service 9/11. So if you guys out there looking for an opportunity to serve, or if you're just curious about the mission continues, want to find out about what we have to offer as far as leadership development programs and how to connect women's, men alike, teenagers, come on and look us up and come out and serve with us. We have plenty of opportunities. In fact, it's August. 100 some of us going to culminate and get to Chicago with Operation Chi-Town Salute, OCS for short. And, we're going to turn the place up, jazz it up, spruce it up, right in like a whole week of August. Deployment style, sunrise to sunset, 4 or 5 days straight. We can make part of Chicago a much, much, much better place once we left.
Well, let us know if there's any way we can help out from Helping the Brave. And definitely Amy will be there for you from Helping the Brave.
Yeah, man. I'll share. Yeah, I'll share with Amy the link to the link to OCS and other things, all things the mission continues as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, help us spread the word. Thank you so much, guys, for giving me this opportunity to get on and share a little bit of myself, but tooting a lot of horn for the mission continues. But yeah, you guys are doing great stuff. Thanks for the opportunity.
No, thank you
very much.
Yeah. All right, you can get us out of here, Amy.
Okay.
I want to go so badly.